Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm here to talk about Luton's next 4 league games. Why? Well look, we all know Christmas is busy, it's hectic, games come at us quick and fast. Also 3 of our next 4 league games are away from home, so I thought today's video was a perfect opportunity to tell you guys how I'm feeling going into those 4 games, what am I expecting and what am I hoping from these next 4 league games. So let's talk about the points. I feel like we have to get at least 4. You have to get at least 1 point per game. And I know there's going to be people saying like, Lewis, we should be getting this amount of points. Yes, I know. Look, we have to be realistic right now. I would love 8 points. I don't think we're going to get 8 points. 2 points per game would be brilliant. I don't think we're going to get that. But I do think maybe, you know, looking at what, 6, 7, hopefully we've got to find a way to win. Maybe 5, like 5 to 7 could be more realistic over these next 4 games, but we can't get anything less than 4. We really can't. The away form has got to get better. We all know it's bad. It has to get better because you can't just keep relying on your home form. We've got big clubs coming to Luton soon in the new year. You've got Leeds, you've got Sheffield United, you've got Blackburn, got Middlesbrough as well. So those 4 clubs in particular will come to Luton and give us, you know, will cause a few problems and make it really hard for us. So you can't just rely on your home form. Away from home, it has got to get better. So fingers crossed in the new year it does exactly that. But what a way to just smash that losing streak by getting the 3 points at Bristol City. How do we get the 3 points at Bristol City? Well, it will be a tough ask, I can't lie to you. The one thing which I kind of want to see something different going into these next 4 league games is the way we attack. And what I mean by that is I don't want to see, and I'm going to be brutal here, I kind of don't want to see Morris, Elijah and Brown start together up top. I don't want to see that. I even don't want to see Brown and Morris, or Brown and Elijah, or Elijah and Morris. I feel like you just need one of them. Play one of them and then give more minutes to Woodrow and Taylor. Why am I being really vocal about this? Because they give us something a little bit different. They're both, Woodrow, he's more technical, the best passer on the ball out of all of our strikers, can play as a number 10, can drop deeper to receive the ball, which can help us progress up the pitch. His link-up play would be a lot better. He has a really good partnership with Morris, especially from their time at Barnsley. And then Joe Taylor, we all know how quick he is. We all know that how he, when receiving the ball in the half turn, he will run in between the lines. He offers us something completely different. Both players, in my opinion, haven't had that much opportunity. Woodrow's had more than Taylor, but let's be honest, every time Woodrow comes on the pitch, we're either losing or not performing well, so it doesn't really help the situation. But I do think we need to see something different in those attacking areas, because at the moment I feel like we are far too predictable. You can look at the defence, you can look at how many injuries at the back. I'm not even looking at the defence, I'm looking at the attack. The attack needs to be more addressed right now, because we can't just keep relying on set pieces. But anyway, back to Bristol City. It is going to be a tough ask, and I do think Bristol City have been a bit unlucky with a few results. I feel like in front of goal, they've not been as clinical as they should be, and I felt like they should have maybe won a couple more games if they were a little bit more clinical. Following their defeat against West Brom recently, they're going to want to bounce back in this home game. Their home form isn't as good as ours, but so that could be something we take full advantage of. They are a really good counter-attacking side. They have, you know, full of pace, so they will exploit our wing-back areas and our centre-halves, you know, pace as well. So playing someone like Chong as a wing-back probably isn't a good idea in this game against Bristol City. And they also are a team that will have an opportunity. If the opportunity comes at them, they will have a go at goal. They will shoot. So that is something to be wary of. So if we give them space and time outside the box, they will have an attempt from distance, and they have scored some really good goals so far from outside the box. How do we get something? Well, Set pieces, I definitely think, is the answer here, because they're not the best at defending set pieces in my opinion, and we are one of the best in the league at scoring from set pieces, whether that's the first phase or the second or the third. We just have our way of scoring from set pieces. But I do think another way of scoring against Bristol City is through counter-attacks. They've shown so far this season that they're not good at defending against them, so if Luton was to use some pace, I don't think we will in this particular game, we can cause them a few problems. So someone like Joe Taylor would be absolutely perfect. In fact, actually playing a Chong further forward and also Victor Moses further forward would help that scenario, rather than having them a little bit deeper playing as wing backs. Playing them as more number 10s would be a lot better, and they can both do that position quite well. So it's whether or not Edwards decides to use that. So that's Bristol City. We might not beat Bristol City. That's probably the toughest one away from home out of the three. But, you know, we need to try and get something. Moving on to Swansea. We know Swansea. We played them recently. We know how tough they are. We really do. And Swansea at home, they're not one of the best in the league. They're far from it. We've got a better home record than what they do. They're actually a better away from home. But with Swansea, I've said it, I remember being really vocal about this. We need to exploit their high line. Their defenders play such a high line and they get exposed with a lot of pace, because teams, what they do is they literally pick up a ball over the top or on the ground, through ball in between the gaps, and then they just get their quick players to run onto the balls and, you know, and score that way. Swansea, that's one of their biggest weaknesses. And how we scored our goal against Swansea, well, we forced them to make a mistake. Defending against set pieces, they're one of the best in the league, so we can't rely on our set pieces here. Counter-attacks, we might be able to rely on, but only if we employ the right players and the right personnel within the system to be able to exploit that. This is a game where I do have a question mark how we're going to attack, especially if we carry on the way which we are doing. But we've got to find a way, and I will keep saying that. Moving on to the game against Norwich. This is the home one. This is the only home game out of our next 4. This is the one where I actually have quite a bit of confidence that we will get the 3 points. If I'm being honest with you, Norwich, I thought defensively were not good at all against us in that 4-2 win. I thought we were able to create opportunities against them. We also took advantage of our set pieces as well. We also forced them to make a mistake. They scored their goals due to us being really stupid. For us not to do the basics right. For us not to clear the ball when we should have cleared the ball. For us to, you know, not defend the ball out of play like what Chong did. Or allow players to get past us too easy and just giving it away cheaply. We can get a good result at Norwich at home. I really do back that, because Norwich, they just don't know how to defend it against teams. They've got a really weak midfield. Their midfield just allows teams to create opportunities against them. So I do feel like out of these next 4 games, if we're going to create the most opportunities, it's going to be in this particular one, not in any other one, because Norwich, just the way they play, of course they've got a few standout players, we all know about those types of players, but I actually thought we did alright. It was just personnel, the players making individual errors that cost us the game, and Edwards was highlighted that after the game, and he was sick and tired of it. So look, if you address that bit, I think we'd be alright. And then moving on to the final league game, which was against QPR, another side which I just thought were poor, but they ended up walking away with the 3 points. At one point during the season, their only win actually came against us, but they've actually got better over the last couple of weeks. Whether they get better, well, carry on over this Christmas period is a different story. But again, I feel like against QPR, because there is that little bit of rivalry between the two clubs, I feel like they're always close games, and I feel like, again, the same with Norwich, they will always concede opportunities. We will get those chances, and QPR, very similar to previous teams which we've had recently in the likes of Stoke and also the likes of Swansea, where they will use their attacking players, they will use their flair players to try and create opportunities, and it's whether or not we can, you know, sustain that and be able to control it. QPR, Norwich are the 2 games where I'm looking at thinking, yes, I definitely think we can get the points. depending on how we set up and what personnel we use for the game against Bristol City and Swansea will determine whether I think we'll get points in those 2 games. So I'm more confident with the last 2 than I am with the first 2. But you can't go into the last 2 on the back-to-back defeats. You just cannot do that. So fingers crossed we don't, and we're a little bit more positive. So just to recap, I want to see something a little bit different going forward in terms of personnel. Our set pieces will help us, but we need to show something different. And yes, it's going to be hard when we don't have many players to do it. I think Hashi is returning back out of all of our players from injury, which is good. We need him. We need someone who's natural as a wing back. Of course, we've got Eric Peters as well, who hasn't started yet. And also, we've got Dabu, Lamine Dabu, who's coming very, very soon. I believe he can play in the game against Norwich. I don't, but he probably is just going to be in the team. That's when he officially starts as a Luton Town player. So, really looking forward to it. And yeah, just hopefully over this Christmas period, we get as many points as possible. I'll see you in tomorrow's video, which will be my match preview of the Bristol City game, where I go into a little bit more detail. And yeah, have a good Christmas if this is the last video you watch of me for this year. And yeah, I'll see you in tomorrow's video.